Hey guys, how y'all doing? BionicleSaurus here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the beasts of the Mesozoic Standard Series Dromaeosaurus. A quick preface before we get into things. This is not a review. This is a my thoughts on video, or I don't know, a comparison video might even be a better word. The point is that for this particular video, the only things that I'm really going to be talking about are the things that distinguish this from the Pyroraptor. Having said that, let's get straight into the video. So taking a look at the box, the art for the packages of the Standard Series figures is by a very obviously different artist than the art on the packages for the Fans' Choice stuff. I'm not sure which one I prefer. There's a lot of great style and feel to the Fans' Choice art, but this is definitely more realistic. It has this photoreal thing going, almost looks like an actual CG rendering, although I doubt that it is. Absolutely fantastic. We also have this nice kind of pink hue to the image, giving it this sort of sunset or sunrise look. That's nice as well. Just like with the Pyroraptor, on the side of the box, we have this gorgeous looking kind of stencil-like black and white illustration. This just looks fantastic. I know it's the smallest little thing, but there's just something about this art style. I really, really love it. I'd love to see more art of this style on the packages of future Beasts of the Mesozoic stuff. It's just a great little touch. On the back of the box, we have a whole slew of raptors to look at. The Fans' Choice Raptor series is pretty limited. There's only 4 figures in it right now, but the Standard Series, of course, has a whole bunch to choose from. Absolutely fantastic to look through all of these awesome genera and species. The image above the little fact sheet section is actually, it's the same one as what's on the front, more zoomed out, less cropped, and actually has completely lost that sunset/rise look. It has totally different, more normal looking lighting and color grading to it, which is interesting. This thing looks hecking cool and stuff. It's fantastic. The Dromaeosaurus albertensis from the Beasts of the Mesozoic series really is the greatest of them all, in my opinion. Well, the Standard Series version, not the Fans' Choice version, because the Fans' Choice Dromaeosaurus is utter trash. Yeah, okay, trash might be a little hyperbolic, but it is interesting to note that my favorite Beast of the Mesozoic Raptor and my least favorite Beast of the Mesozoic Raptor are the same mold. Yeah, this is the top for me, and the Fans' Choice Dromaeosaurus is the absolute bottom. And I'd say that pretty clearly demonstrates that colors really make a world of difference. So let's just start with that. Let's start with the color scheme and the paint work on this figure. So this thing is based off of a goshawk, which is a pretty friggin' cool bird, not gonna lie. I like hawks. Hawks are neat. Not as cool as falcons, but cooler than eagles. I don't know. These are way more opinions on birds that I've just expressed in the last 20 seconds than I've ever actually expressed in my life, so whatever. The point is it's a neat bird, and a really good bird to base a Dromaeosaurid of any kind off of. As cool as it is to see the various raptor figures we've gotten from David Silva that are based off of more colorful things like the Pyroraptor, which is a varied thrush, not a kingfisher as it turns out. Also, for instance, the Linhiraptor, which is based off of a bee-eater. Like, all that stuff's really neat, but to base a predator off of another predator, it's just so appropriate. It makes a lot of sense. It results in something that looks super realistic. This raptor really looks like it could be a real animal. It's quite striking. In terms of specific patterns and things like that have been carried over from the actual bird, probably the nicest looking one is this underside pattern. These sort of thin bands and speckles and things. That's really nice. You can see it going on the legs as well. On the inner lower leg there, you can kind of see, it almost looks like, straight up tiger stripes or something along those lines. Really looks fantastic. And in general, the whole color palette is so good. You all know I love my earth tones and my more gentle and darker color schemes. And this thing truly delivers on that level. This is all earth tones. It's all browns and tans and beiges and whites and blacks. And they're all blended together so well. In terms of color blending, transitions between different shades, brightness levels, patterns, just overall paint application and paint style, I'd say it's way better than the Pyroraptor. Now, the Pyroraptor has an awesome color scheme. The gold and blue combination looks fantastic. It's super striking, very nice looking indeed. But to me, this, even though it's more muted colors, some might say it's a little more boring, I think the actual paint application itself and the blendings of all the different tones and things like that, it's just so good. Just look at the tail. Look at all the different varying brightnesses and shades of just brown and tan, and how nice that turned out. Now, the color scheme isn't the only thing that's fantastic about this figure. It's also not the only thing that's different about it. So let's talk a little bit about some of these sculpted pieces, some of the individual parts, and the way they're molded. So first of all, the limbs, the thighs and the calves are different pieces than those on the Pyroraptor. In fact, the entire leg is. The ankle and foot and toes are all different. The entire thing is a bit thicker and certainly fluffier. It appears to have a lot more body to the feathers. And it also has feathers extending all the way across the ankle, foot, and toes, which is definitely different from the Pyroraptor. It's quite appropriate considering where this thing lived. It lived further north than a Pyroraptor would have. It would have been encountering colder environments. And so the fact that the feathers cover almost the entire body is quite appropriate, and it really puts you in the right mood. It gives off the correct vibes for the type of creature that this really was in life. It's quite fantastically done. Makes you think of snow and winter forests and owls and goshawks and, I don't know, foxes and little things scurrying around in the snowy woods. Totally gives off that kind of a vibe. Fantastic. Another piece that is slightly different is the tail. The tail is just a little bit longer than the one on the Pyroraptor. Other than that, it's exactly the same as far as I can tell. The arms are also sculpted differently. Again, fluffier, bulkier, longer primaries, and much more going on the forearm piece. Much longer feathers here specifically. In fact, the actual mold for the primaries coming off the second finger might be about the same piece, maybe just slightly different from the Pyroraptor, but this is much different. Gives the wing a much fuller, more bird-like look. I strongly prefer this. Beautifully sculpted. Just look at those feathers. Look at the molding and the detail that went into that. The head is a different sculpt. It's got a very signature Dromaeosaurus look, being quite bulky and stout. A lot of people forget that Dromaeosaurus, despite being a namesake for its entire family, was far from a generic raptor. And that mainly has to do with the skull. It had quite a bulky skull. The whole thing was quite a chunky, stout, stocky animal, and the skull was just the epitome of that. Much thicker and more just powerful looking than any sort of velociraptor or troodontid skull. And this toy here just perfectly captures it. Just looks fantastic. You got the tongue, got the jaw, you got all the standard articulation. Orange eyes. I know I'm jumping back to paint here for a second, but those eyes are so expressive. I mean, just look at that facial expression. Let's go over to the other side as well. Ooh, look at that. That is absolutely piercing. I mean, this thing doesn't even look inanimate sometimes. It's amazing what they were able to do, honestly. Another little difference in the molding is it has this additional torso piece to bulk out the chest, or I guess to fluff it out more so. Definitely improves the look for this particular figure, though it does cause certain issues with shoulder articulation, but it's not too bad. The main thing that causes issue with articulation is, I think, either the thigh mold or maybe the torso mold itself. I thought the torso was the same, I'm not sure, but something is slightly tripping up the ability of the thighs to go forward. They really have to bend out to fit over this piece and actually move up and forward a lot, which is kind of a motion you need for a lot of interesting poses. Yeah, this one doesn't really do it at all. The other side can manage, this one not even close. So that's interesting. Again, I'm not sure exactly what piece is causing that, because that's not the case on the Pyroraptor. I'm pretty sure that this torso piece is exactly the same, maybe slightly wider. I'm not sure. I know the thighs are, a little wider this way, but they shouldn't be any, denser. They should still be about the same thickness, roughly. It's also worth mentioning that this figure has a different sculpt going on for the pelvic region, specifically the pubic boot, and the smaller clip does not clip on anywhere. It doesn't. It kind of fits in this little crook where the pubic boot kind of meets the main stomach area, but it doesn't go on anywhere here, unlike the Pyroraptor where it clips on about here really, really well. That's just not quite happening. You can kind of get it to clip on a little bit back here. There's a couple spots where you can kind of get it to go on, not super well. Yeah, that's not super useful though. I mean, the angle that puts the ball joint to, it's not super great for actually propping it up, except for a few very odd and specific poses. I wanted to give you guys a quick look at the detail on the feet and also to compare the different toe sets. I'm not actually going to attach the running toes, but here's a quick comparison as opposed to the walking toes. I mean, it's pretty similar. They're just, mainly it's the position of the actual attachment point that's different. But they're a little closer together, a little more bunched up. And here's the one for the other foot. In terms of sculpted detail, I mean, just like the Pyroraptor, this thing is gorgeous. Just look at what we got going on here with the legs. Look at that feather texturing and the paint job. My lord. This looks amazing close up. It's one of those figures, it does not just look good from a distance, it holds up no matter how closely you inspect it. I guess maybe with the exception of the actual articulation points, those might be a detail hang-up for some people, but overall, they're fine to me. I mean, that's the whole point of one of these raptors. We also have amazing stuff going on with the base, as usual. These things are all the same mold, and yet this one is snowy, the other one's a desert, there's ones with plants. It's like they have these different layers of texture that get brought out in different ways depending on the paint job, so you can make it snow, dirt, grass. Well, not grass, but whatever ground cover was around in the Cretaceous, whatever, you know, it's amazing the amount of diversity they achieve with these bases that are all the same frickin' piece of plastic. It's nuts. So just to talk about my overall appraisal of this thing, I am going to give it a rating in this video, of course. I mean, I guess this is kind of a review, even though it's not a proper one. And so just kind of going through the main points, as far as accuracy is concerned, I'd say it's exactly on par with the Pyroraptor. You could make a case that it's slightly better because the feathering is more extensive and there's more body to the fluff. I would probably go as far to somewhat agree with that, especially considering this genus in particular. In terms of the paint job, I think it's way better. I mean, the color scheme on the frickin' Pyroraptor is top-notch, but just the application and the nuance and subtlety to this paint scheme is so good. I mean, I was showing you some close-up shots of it, and the paintwork really holds up no matter how closely you examine it. Now, the one thing that is a slight drawback of this figure is that because of some of the slightly bulkier parts and things, it's a little less well articulated than the Pyroraptor, actually. Now, having said that, as you can tell, I mean, you can get into plenty of fine poses, and in fact, I might just throw up some of the stuff I've been able to achieve with it up on screen right about now. So as you can tell, I mean, it's really pretty much just as good. There's some slight hip and shoulder hindrance, but it's really nothing to worry about. It's no reason not to buy the best Beasts of the Mesozoic Raptor figure. I know you've probably seen it a lot. I am far from the first person to review it. I'd say it's the most popular one. My overall rating of the Beasts of the Mesozoic Standard Series Dromaeosaurus albertensis is a 9.5 out of 10, 9.5. This thing is almost a 10. I can't even quite explain why it's not. I guess just the slight hindrances in articulation, and also, you know, I would have a really hard time giving even my favorite figures a 10. It's just such a high appraisal. Nonetheless, this is absolutely a gobsmacking thing to behold, and I like it more than the Pyroraptor. I do. I highly, highly recommend this. This is a beautiful, beautiful figure. Pick it up. Do all that good stuff. There's no size comparison. It's like a half an inch longer than the Pyroraptor, and there's size comparisons over in the Pyroraptor video, so don't worry about it. And thank you very much for watching. BionicleSaurus signing out.